Hello everyone, X-Fords here, and welcome to JoJolion Chapter 106, Review and Discussion, and it feels so good to finally be able to say those words. I've seen my fair share of JoJolion hiatuses before, since reading this series for almost 5 years now, since 2016. Some of you guys even longer. I think I've seen 7 or 8 hiatuses, but for whatever reason, this felt like the longest one by far, probably just because the point of the story that we're at. But it wasn't all doom and gloom. As I'm sure you all know, the Stone Ocean anime was confirmed while we were on break, which was awesome, and maybe that was one of the reasons why Araki took that month off to talk to them about the production as well. He was in the Joestar Inherited Souls special event. So cool, Araki. But anyways, we're back to JoJolion. But before we get right into the chapter review, another exciting thing that happened while we were on hiatus is that my clothing line Break Free, that I'm sure you guys all know about, launched our second collection, System Error, featuring JoJolion themed products. So if you guys missed any of that, we released some really cool stuff last month, and a lot of those products have been out of stock since the drop. But tomorrow we're doing a System Error Step 2, a few additions to the collection, as well as a restock of the hoodies and the shirts and everything. So if you guys missed anything, it's going to be back in stock tomorrow evening. So be sure to follow the Break Free social media to see the exact drop times and everything new. As well as we have 2 new things being added to the System Error collection. This nice light blue turquoise t-shirt, perfect for springtime, that has a JoJolion panel design, looks like Jobin with a little soap bubble, as well as a huge back print that has a bunch of other JoJolion motifs on it, like a soap bubble, as well as a stag beetle. And we also have our beautiful Gappy and Yasuo shirt that you guys have all loved what we've shared so far. So those are the 2 new things that are going to be in the shop tomorrow. So go ahead and follow the social media, the Instagram, the Twitter, and just check the website for the exact times on when that's dropping. So all right, thank you guys for listening to that. So now into the JoJolion chapter review, starting with the Ultra Jump cover page. Really nice. We just see Gappy in color with a bunch of JoJolion motifs. But one thing specifically that I want to make note of, like we've seen this stuff all before. You got Beetles, you got Tori, you got Yasuo, you got Nut King Call. Pretty typical JoJolion Ultra Jump cover. But people were freaking out about the playing cards, because who do we associate playing cards with? None other than the big MILF herself. I love her so much. Kato Higashikata. And as we'll see, spoiler alert, she comes back this chapter, which we will get to talk about at the very end. So getting right into the cover page here, the battle over the Rokakaka reaches the climax. I told you guys we're in the climax of JoJolion. It feels like it, and exciting things are happening in this chapter. And we also see just, I guess, Josuke at the Higashikata estate, although he's not there yet. He's at the hospital still for this entire chapter. And we get a new chapter title. We are out of the Endless Calamity arc, and it is titled Go Beyond. So My Hero Academia All Might vibes here. Go Beyond. And it also looks like Josuke has gone through a slight redesign. I don't know if Araki just didn't draw his rock scar on his eye just for the artistic vision of this panel, but yeah, it looks like Gappy doesn't have that anymore, at least in this cover. So now, into the actual chapter here, we have a bit of monologue, dialogue, whatever you want to call it, narration in the top right, that just kind of recaps us on where we are because we were on hiatus. It says, the rock human Toru has finally gotten his hands on the new Rokakaka. With his victory seemingly assured, an invisible soap bubble approaches, which we are now referring to the invisible soap bubble as Josuke's new spin, infinite rotation, mega super deus ex machina. No, I'm kidding. Whatever you guys want to call it, that's what the invisible soap bubbles are. So we're at the TG University Hospital here, and we see some employees walking throughout the halls, and then they see something really strange, almost like a Rene Magritte painting, where we have a hole in a vending machine, and it looks like almost Vanilla Ice got his way into JoJolion and is running around the hospital making these holes. But I think this was the result of Josuke's missed invisible soap bubble, because the other times that we've seen Josuke's soap bubbles used, at least a lot of lately, is like when Mamazuku died, how they're like miniature vanilla ices that are just spinning super fast. They just are able to erase and melt anything they come in contact with. So in the next panel, we see Josuke lying on the floor, still dying to no, it's not what is it? Obla-di. I'm mixing up my rock animals. So for Josuke, it looks like almost all hope is gone. He is being completely overcome by this rock animal. But then we switch over back to the Higashikata estate, where we see everyone's favorite character, the plane door. Give it up for the plane door, everyone. It's back. It's finally making its grand appearance in this chapter. Finally, we're going to get to see where this plane door goes. And my favorite thing about this chapter that JoJolion has been lacking, not for its entirety, but like for the past 2 chapters, which feels like eternity, honestly. So like exciting things happen in this chapter, and then it doesn't end. It continues on, and we actually get to see things like fulfilled and the result of actions in the same chapter, which I know is like the most basic complaint ever, or seems like the bare minimum, but at least in chapter 104 and 105, like Once you get to the exciting part of the chapter, to be continued, it ends. And that happened 2 chapters in a row here. So it's really awesome to see like an actual fight transpire in 1 chapter. But again, yeah, it's kind of like the bare minimum for a monthly manga. So as the plane door is approaching Yasuo, it looks like it is just, it's imminent. It's going to attack her. You see Nut King Call coming up from underneath. Possibly maybe Joshu will try to save her. And then you have the invisible soap bubble, the infinite rotation, Josuke's spin, flying out of Yasuo's phone through the power of Paisley Park, and it connects with Toru. Finally, the cliffhanger, the 90-day cliffhanger we've been on. This dude finally gets hit with Josuke's new spin, and it almost reminds me of one of the lessons from Steel Ball Run when Gyro's like underwater and he's creating like a bubble. It was against the Sandman arc where he's creating a bubble with the water and it's spinning, and like that is what happens to Toru. On his left side, it's just pretty much the same thing that happened to Mamazuku. Attack with a soap bubble, transcends logic, is able to overcome the wonder of you, and we're finally able to get a real attack on this guy that does some real damage. And this one attack seemingly saves the day. Toru goes flying into the air. The plane door has its calamity ability removed from it, so it doesn't attack Yasuo anymore, and it goes flying through the Higashikata estate and we see this nice double page spread of it just completely destroying the inside of the Higashikata family's home. And guys, if this flash forward is not real, everyone that like refers to the flash forward that we saw like 20 chapters ago, I don't know how Araki is going to write that into the story now, unless it's like a dream sequence or Tsurugi uses Paper Moon Cane to just completely mess with everyone's perception. But like, that shit's just not real at this point. And guys, earlier when I was saying that things actually happen in this chapter and we get to see the result of actions, this is what I'm talking about. I feel like it would have been so in typical JoJolion fashion for them to like have talked for 20 pages and then like the chapter ends right when the plane door hits the house. It would have been like, oh, whatever. But finally things are actually moving at like a reasonable pace this chapter, and we're getting some payoff for all this downtime we've had, at least within the past like 2 chapters and the lead up of Josuke's soap bubble. Okay, downtime was probably a really bad word to describe what happened in the past few chapters, but you got more like a anticipation and build up is what I meant to say. So finally, the JoJolion gang catches their first W in a very long time. They're able to attack Toru. They're able to completely remove the effects of the calamities for the time being, as well as we see that the head doctor at the TG University Hospital has also had his damage transferred to him, and he is struck as well, and he's retreating. So for now, we're looking good. But Josuke knows if we want to defeat Toru and the Wonder of You, we need to be resilient because he is a very powerful force. So Josuke doesn't do any early celebrating. He is still in work mode. And as he's on the phone with Yasuo, he's like, is Toru still there? And she's like, oh yeah, you got him. He's on the ground collapsed. And Josuke's like, no, is he alive? Yasuo's like, what? Josuke goes, is he moving? Is there any sign of life? And Yasuo's like, yeah, but he looks like he's pretty damaged. But Josuke's like, no, I'm firing another one. Like, we're not stopping yet. Lock and load the iPhone, Yasuo. Get a bullet ready. I'm sending it your way. So I think it's really cool how determined Josuke is to defeat Toru right here. And he's just like, doesn't matter how worse his condition is. Josuke's just like, is he alive? Gotta send another one out. And while Josuke and Yasuo are talking about Toru's condition, we also get a little bit of dialogue that explains how the invisible soap bubble is actually working. And it's kind of just manga fiction mumbo jumbo, and how through Yasuo and Paisley Park is able to create a path for the invisible spin to go through. Honestly, like, I hate to like break the vibe or the mood or anything because JoJolion is very exciting, but like, this is one of the weirdest resolutions to like a character fight we've seen in a really long time, and it kind of feels like a step back for Araki's writing, because like we've just kind of been fighting Toru over and over and over again, and then in like 4 chapters without much build up, Mamazuku was like, oh, by the way, Josuke, you have this like crazy powerful ability, use it. And Josuke's like, okay, I'll use it. And now it's just able to defeat Toru. Like, our characters didn't really learn anything. They didn't find a way really to overcome the Wonder of You in like a mind game sort of way. Josuke just kind of discovered he's had this ability forever. So I still want to see how this all unfolds. I'm still really excited about this chapter, but like, current impression of how we're defeating Toru right now, it doesn't seem like Araki's best work. But back into the context of the story, I don't know why Yasuo would say this. Like, so Josuke's like, okay, I'm loading up another one. Get your phone ready. Point it at Toru. I'm sending one your way. And Yasuo's like, Josuke, no, you got the wrong idea. He's not trying to run away. He's just hurt. And it's like, are you on Toru's side, Yasuo? What are you talking about? Like, Yasuo is trying to spare Toru right now. Like, this dude has caused her so much harm. He's been threatening to kill her for 4 chapters now, and he's just like betrayed her in every way possible. And for some reason, Yasuo is like, no, Josuke, don't shoot him again. I want him to live. Like, is this like a way Araki's expressing us that Yasuo might still have feelings for Toru or something, or that's just kind of the person she is. Even if someone's bad, she doesn't want to kill them, or she's totally just not okay with killing. But weird, very weird, Yasuo. I don't like that, how you're trying to spare Toru right now. Like, this guy's gotta go. And as she's saying this, that no, Josuke, don't shoot him again, you got the wrong idea, he's eating the new Rokakaka and walking towards Yasuo. And guys, right here, I expected the chapter to end. I was like, okay, no way we're gonna see any more than what's happening right now. Like, this is so dope. But then the chapter just keeps going and we see the results, and it's just back what I was talking about, how just so much happens in this chapter. It's really cool. And it's also made clear when Toru does this, that this is the last of the new Rokakaka. There were 2 fruit growing from the branches. One was more full, and this one is more, it's not as mature. It's a smaller fruit. So now the branch is empty. There's nothing on it. We might still be able to grow something, but not in a reasonable amount of time here. So Yasuo ate the first one and exchanged with Joshu, and then Toru is eating the second one. And it's like, so many fan theories in JoJolion, and the things the fans want to see always are like a fusion, or like use the Rokakaka, which like Araki uses very sparingly. Like, the Rokakaka isn't used very much, but it's exciting when it is used. So to see Araki use the Rokakaka in the way that fans always want it to be used is really cool. How he's like, you know, I have this fruit here, I'm just going to eat it and do an equivalent exchange. And that's like exactly what he does. He eats it, he walks towards Yasuo, and he tries to do like similar to what Yasuo did with Joshu, how when she just touched him, it like took away Joshu's arm and healed Yasuo. So the way that this new Rokakaka is working, it's pretty much just like an instant heal if you're able to make contact with someone else. And that's what Toru is trying to do. But Joshu is standing in the way, protects her. We get a stand barrage from Nut King Call that doesn't really do much, to be honest. But as soon as he lets out the stand barrage, he gets bonked in the head by a gutter. Just L after L after L for Joshu here. So it looks like the calamity is still in effect. We haven't fully overcome it. Only people like Josuke with his invisible soap bubble are able to fully stop the calamities from happening. So Toru is actually able to make contact with Yasuo, but it's not for long. He just gets close. He's able to touch her a few times, but not before long. Josuke, back at the hospital, is running towards a pool, jumps in the pool, and obla-di obla-da, it looks like its number one weakness is water, which Josuke knew for some reason. So he jumped in this pool. He's getting cured from the rock animal. Obladi Obladi is going away, sending out his soap bubble through the phone, and right as Toru is just literally sucking the life out of Yasuo, he is blown away with another invisible spin. And if the first one wasn't fatal, as he already has a hole in his left side, as you can see right here in this panel, this one hits him directly in the neck. So it's pretty much what happened to Mamazuku. So like, Toru's gone after this. There's no recovering from this attack, especially in this panel right here where Josuke says, eat this, soft and wet, go beyond, which is just so cool to see when a character renames their ability or names a specific technique they use. So soft and wet, go beyond. That soap bubble does not exist anywhere, but clearly it exists in Toru's neck, and it's going to blow him away. And Toru, in this panel right here, he looks like he is down for the count, okay? Hole in his left side, hole in his neck, goes flying on the windshield, bleeding on the ground. So if you had to ask me, is Toru really defeated? Is he really gonna die? What we see at the end of the chapter leads me to believe that yes, this is the way that we defeat Toru, and this is the end of the Wonder of You and the calamities, unless some more crazy Rokakaka stuff goes on. So guys, after about 24 chapters, 2-3 years in JoJolion since Toru has been introduced, he has now been defeated. How do you guys feel about it? What do you guys think if we're going to assume that this is the way he is defeated? Like I mentioned earlier in the chapter, Josuke's invisible soap bubbles kind of came out of nowhere, and we didn't really find a way to solve the Wonder of You. We were more so given a way to solve the Wonder of You. So let me know how you guys feel about that. I'm still iffy on it. I'll have to see how the rest of the part plays out, but for now, not really my favorite fight in JoJolion, or at least in JoJo, when it comes to like final big climaxes. But now for the part I'm sure you guys have all been waiting for in this chapter review, and it is the return of Kato, motherfucking Higashikata, in the garage of the Higashikata estate. And there's a lot to take in here. It is only like 2 panels that she's in, but there's a lot to take in here. So first of all, to close out all of the dialogue we have in the chapter, there's a bottom narration that just kind of reminds us of who Kato is. It says, the mother of the Higashikata family. She once committed murder because she loved her family. But is she an enemy or an ally? So let's see what is going on here. Kato is in the Higashikata garage, probably looking for a tool or something. You know, she had to fix a light bulb. She was looking for a screwdriver or something. No, okay, so she's in the garage, but she's crying. And a lot of people were in the theory that Kato is the main villain of JoJolion. She's the one pulling the strings in the background. And I was somewhat on board with that, but the way that we've been fighting Toru throughout the past 2 years, I thought no way. Toru can't be defeated, and then we're introduced to Kato, although that's exactly what's happening right now. But we can't be introduced to Kato, and Kato's pitiful, Toru, you failed me. Looks like I'll have to deal with this enemy on my own. But that's not what's happening whatsoever right now. It doesn't even look like Kato and Toru know each other at all. Although Toru does look up and there's like exclamation points above his head and he says, huh? Like he's looking at this person. Maybe he's seen them before. Maybe he knows who Kato is. But Kato is crying. And if you look in the very bottom right of this panel that she's in, there's blood flowing down the steps. And we know that Jobin is in the Higashikata family or in like a hallway as well. So what's probably happening right now is that Kato found Jobin's dead body or dying body. So when Jobin was bleeding out, maybe he called Kato and said, Kato, mother, I'm dying. I need you to come to the estate, something like that. And she's looking for a way to help him maybe. And that's why she's crying. So I don't think Kato is this mastermind pulling the strings in charge of Toru behind everything. I think she's simply grieving for her son right now, and we're going to have to see the way that she interacts with Josuke and Yasuo, and just what kind of confrontation they're going to have, if it even is going to be a confrontation. So very interesting that Kato is brought back, but it doesn't necessarily look like she has a connection to Toru, or even cares about Toru at all, because she's not involved in this fight outside. It looks like she's just trying to find a way to save her son, maybe in the garage looking for something to heal him with, but the way I thought this might go into it, or the way we might grow from this, is sort of like similar to Steel Ball Run, where we have like the Diego Brando epilogue. We just have like a Kato v family, like Higashikata family epilogue, where we see that like maybe Josuke and Yasuo want the fruit, because I don't even know why they want the fruit. They just don't want anyone else to have it. So they want the fruit, and maybe Kato will want the fruit to heal Jobin, and maybe there'll be a confrontation there. But I don't know why Josuke or Yasuo would be like, no, you don't get the fruit. No one gets the fruit but us, and you can't heal your family. Like, I feel like they would be very on board with letting the Higashikata family use the fruit to heal Tsurugi and heal Jobin. So I don't really know what sort of fight we might get into with Kato, unless she has ulterior motives. But there's no fruit left, guys. Like, that's what I thought would happen. Like, there'd be another fight over the fruit, but Toru ate the fruit and Yasuo ate the fruit, so there's no fruit left. So there's no more new Rokakaka unless I'm missing something, and there's still one little one on a branch or something, but like, there's nothing to fight over anymore. I guess it's just kind of like save the family, or maybe Kato will just be like, I hate men, I want to kill all of you, and I'm sure in the next chapter she might have more of a reason for why she's here and how the story is going to evolve involving Kato. But I would really like a Higashikata family epilogue that really focuses on rebuilding the family, or how the family is going to continue on from this point. After their house has been destroyed, their father is presumed dead, their eldest son is presumed dead. So we really do need to clear up on how this family is going to grow and move on from what's happened so far. So I think that's where JoJolion is going to be moving now. There might be a few tiny bits of Toru, maybe him lying, maybe trying to do one last attack, but for the most part, I think Toru is going to move on. We might get some more information from Kato if Kato has had a relationship with him or working with him in some way, but for now, it's a little too early to tell. But based on Kato crying, tears in her eyes, in the garage, and the blood of Jobin, assuming that's the blood of Jobin being so close to her, she looks like she's just looking out for her eldest son. So very exciting stuff. Kato's back. Let me know what you guys think. She has a slight redesign as well. Araki's really showing us those MILF tits. You know, her cleavage is showing. Her shirt's cut more, and just other minor design changes. But she's looking good. Glad to have Kato back. And it's also a possibility, guys, if you guys remember when Kyo Nijimura came back, Kei Nijimura, she died instantly. So it's also a possibility that Kato might just be killed instantly. But for now, guys, that is going to be JoJolion chapter 106 review and discussion. Very exciting things. Literally the best chapter in JoJolion we've had in a very long time in terms of things actually happening and seeing the result of actions in the same chapter. Really, really awesome. So I asked you guys a lot of questions this chapter review. What did you guys think about the attacks that defeated Toru and how we got to this point, as well as the return of Kato? Go ahead, discuss down below in the comments. Let me know what you guys thought about this chapter and what we might be seeing next for JoJolion. So guys, thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to check out Break Free down below for the new JoJolion products. This shirt is so sick, guys. The blue color, the back print, as well as our Yasuo and Gappy shirt. So be sure to check out the new stuff. And just be sure to stick around the channel for all things JoJo. You guys know me, JoJolion reviews, Stone Ocean anime news, as well as just regular analysis on the monthly. So again, guys, thank you so much for watching. Like if you enjoyed, sub for more, and I'll talk to you guys all later. Peace. BreakFreeSupply.com.